In this video, I'm going to show you how I use Market Cipher to go ahead and conduct trades. Now, before I dive into this, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and smash the like button if you want more videos like this so I know exactly what you guys want to see. So really quickly, before I dive in, there's something that you need to understand with Market Cipher. The first thing is you need to define your goal, whether you're going to be scalping or whether you're going to be swing trading. Now, using Cipher, what I've noticed is that the indicators are spot on, okay? So, well, I don't want to say they're super spot on. They're really, really good, but again, it's an indicator. The market moves on its own. It has its own brain. So you have to determine what you're trying to do, whether you're trying to scalp or you're trying to swing. Now, what I've realized when I go ahead and I try to scalp is that volatility, when I was scalping Doge, I was doing exceptionally well doing it. At 20x leverage, hitting anywhere from 100 to 300%, ROI. And I was, consistently doing that, whether it was shorting or longing it on the 3 and 5 minute chart. Now, here's the thing. I said 3 and 5 minute chart is because I want you to understand something before we really dive into this. Is trying to scalp on 1 minute, you have to be really fast. Is it possible? Yes. Do I know people doing it inside of Market Cipher, and have I seen it been done? Yeah, absolutely. But you have to be fast. You have to have multiple different computers. I have this computer, that computer, another one behind me. I have multiple different computers so I can move fast, look at charts, etc. If you're working on one device, maybe scalping the 1 minute isn't what you want to do because you need to move very, very fast. You have to understand that. Can you still do it? Yes, of course. So now that you understand, you have to determine what you're trying to do and know your goal. Next, what we have to do is take a look and grasp what the indicators are telling us. So the very first thing that I'll say is I'm looking at XTZ, so Tezos, and just a quick shout out to my friend Chris for tipping me off here. And so what I did was, after he told me about this, I went and took a look at the charts, and more than anything, you want to move from a high time frame down to a low time frame and see the consistency. So what I look for is I look for the consistency. So take a look. This is going to be key here. So you see that the daily, how the momentum, okay? So the little blue hill right over here, this is the momentum, and then we have the green, which is the money in. And then I also take a look above, okay, above the actual candle. And just so you know, you should be using Heiken and She candles, because that's what Market Cipher works really, really well with. Now, here's the thing. Look at this. It has a red X over the daily, which red X indicates that we're more than likely about to go down. So if we historically look at the red X, we'll see another one right over here. We'll see that it literally went ahead and went down. Let's take a look at another red X. So this is a red X, and this particular candle, it went down, but then it swung to the upside. Now, even though it had a red X above that daily candle, it did go down. But what happens next is you have to look at the other indicators. You can't just look at one indicator. You have to take it all into account. So again, I looked at this particular play, and the red X was there and on the daily for Tezos. So then I went to the 4 hour, and what I see on the 4 hour, so what did I see? I saw that the momentum was flowing downwards, but here's the other thing. I also saw this little green dot. Now there's two things that I look for when I'm looking I think this is Cipher B it is. So when I'm looking at indicator B, I look for these green dots, right? Because I like to long. So I don't necessarily like to short because I'll show you the position in a bit. It's a relatively big position. So I see this green dot, this massive green dot is a very big indicator that, hey, look, we bottomed out and it's time to buy because we're more than likely going up. But you'll also see that sometimes there's multiple massive green dots that appear relatively close to each other. Because again, if you take a look at the chart and the pattern, we see the green dot right over here. It bottomed out, it found its support level, and it bounced off and it pushed to the upside. So Cipher was like, hey, listen, it's time to buy. But then what happened is it pushed down even lower, and this is a little yellow X. Now, on the lower time frames, I'll discuss what this yellow X means and why it's important. But we're on the 4 hour. So the moment you'll see these candles right here, you see this candle right over here, you see how it's indecisive. I look at these and call these indecisive candles. Typically an indecisive candle tells me that we're gonna go down. So, or it's going to swing to the upside or swing to the downside depending on how it was moving previously with the other candles. So we can see that this red X right over here, we had an indecisive candle, and following literally 8 hours later, we can see that there's a yellow X, which indicates, hey, look, get ready, we're going down. So it did push to the downside, but also right over here, we had a really big green dot. It went up and we saw a yellow X. Now, here's the thing is that if you're trying to, like I said in the beginning, if you're trying to scalp, you're not looking at this chart, right? You're literally not looking at this chart because these two candles are 8 hours. You're scalping in less than an hour. You're in and out, right? So over time, you see these green dots, right? The ones at the bottom, the massive ones. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for those green dots because historically speaking, you see these green dots, right? It pushes to the upside. We see these two green dots, it pushes to the upside. We have another green dot down here on the 4 hour on Tezos. So what's happening now? Well, we're going ahead and we're dipping. And again, I'll talk about these little hills down here and what divergence is and all of that. There's a lot that goes on in this indicator that we need to talk about first, but I'm going to start off with the longer time periods. So I saw this particular green dot after I was doing some more research, after my friend Chris tipped me off over here. I was like, okay, interesting. Then I go down to the 3 hour, I see the green dot again. And then I go down to the 2 hour, I see the green dots again. I go down to the hourly, I see the green dot. The pattern here is Cipher's telling me, yo, we are going up. Like, this is when you want to buy. We bottomed out over here. We bottomed out a few times. We're going up. So the other thing you need to go ahead and keep in the back of your mind if you're going ahead and swinging for a few days, and I just want to be very transparent, I got into Tezos at like $6.11, $6.10, something like that. But I also have right over here a $45,000 position in this particular portfolio for Tezos, which I'll swing it. I set a challenge to take this portfolio from 25,000 to 100,000 and see how long it takes. So we're at 82 now, but I digress. Look right over here. Okay, we have this green dot, but we also have many green dots. Now, let's talk divergence. So what is divergence exactly? Well, I'm going to explain it to you in how I know divergence in my own head, and it's probably not the best way to describe it. But you see these little hills right down here? Divergence is, and you see these white lines, so essentially divergence is when we start to notice that these little hills start to get smaller and smaller, and it pushes to the upside. So if we're down here, right, we see this one hill form, and then we have another signal, a little red dot right here, and then it pushes back up, it touches the white line, and then it says, hey, look, there's another little green dot, buy signal, and then it goes back down, but this hill is smaller than this big hill. This hill, right, the third one is smaller than the second one, and the second one is smaller than the first one. This tells me that we're pushing to the upside now. And what happened? Lo and behold, it pushed to the upside. And again, you could do this no matter which way you're looking, okay? So that's what divergence is essentially. And divergence is mainly used for indicators like an RSI, right? So essentially, this is what I look for, but here's the thing is that I'm holding this position not for an hour, not for 2 hours. I'm holding it based on the 1, 2, 3, 4 and the daily. Now the daily tells me a really bad story. The 1, 2, 3, 4 hour tells me a really good story. So just the simple fact that there's more good stories here than there is bad, so good signals compared to bad, I'll go ahead and I'll actually take the trade. So right down here, okay, we can also see that the money flows in the green. So what does it mean when this little green flow is happening? Well, that means money's coming in. So when money's coming in, it's typically a very bullish sign. But when it flips to red, let me just go right over here. When it flips to red, this means that essentially money's flowing out. So people are basically selling, okay? And if you notice, the best times to buy is when we have divergence, right? So we have these little hills going down. We have the red money out, and it's all like overlapping with each other, and there's a small green dot or a big green dot. If there's a big green dot with the money leaving and divergence, man, that's a great sign. So if we go to the 4 hour, right? So the 4 hour, let's see, this is important. This is also key. If you can snipe this where the money in turns to money out, where people are going ahead and selling, right? That's a perfect buying opportunity. So essentially, if you can snipe that exactly, you're going to be in a very good position. So I look for, and exactly what I just explained. Look at this. Big hill going to a smaller hill, diverges, but this hill hasn't fully finished yet. So I can't necessarily label it, a divergence play essentially. So, but you can see that we have a buy signal. We can buy in the red, right? So the red is telling us, hey, look, there's money out, people are selling, it's a good time to buy. And we also have the momentum being pushed downwards. So 4 hour tells me, hey, look, we're good to go. Like, you can buy. 3 hour, same exact thing. We are in the red, right? We're in the red. We have a we have a green dot, which is an indicator that we've gone ahead and we've bottomed out, or it's found its support, not necessarily bottomed out here, but it's found its support. Now might be a good time to buy. That's on the 3 hour. On the 2 hour, same story, right? So we're going ahead and it's giving us signals to purchase in the red, which is what we want. But here's what happens when we start getting closer to the actual smaller time frames. Is you'll notice that there's multiple green, red, green, red, green. And that's why these strong green signals down here, these green dots, are so powerful. Because you can have multiple green, red, green, right? But if you have a really strong green dot, that's a very, very good indicator. So because look at this, historically speaking, if we just take a look recently in the 2 hour time frames, we'll notice that these are pretty spot on. So essentially, you could purchase in, you could start purchasing these green dots and dollar cost averaging your way in. But again, like I said, I work my way down and make sure that all the time frames are telling me pretty much the same story. Now let's go to the 1 hour. What does the 1 hour tell me? Well, the 1 hour right over here, when the big green dot was initiated, we are, and we can see now the divergence, and obviously it's pushing to the upside. And I'll talk about what this little indicator means too, because this is important. I think it just appeared actually. But regardless, we're in the red. We have buy signals, right? It's clearly telling us, hey, look, it's time to buy. But this is important. You got to understand is that the signal needs to pretty much go ahead and flow with the other time frames. If there's only one time frame that tells you one thing and all the other time frames are telling you the opposite, you're going to have to go ahead and take the decision of the one that has most of the data, essentially. So if the 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all telling me, hey, listen, what you want to do here is you want to short, then I wouldn't be longing it. But because it's telling me, hey, look, buy, I'm longing it. So that's what I look for in the short time frames. Now, really quickly, I'm going to just cover, and by the way, I believe that Cipher B is one of the most important indicators on here, and then everything else is a little supporting as well. But this is going to be like the lifeline, and every single trade that I've gotten into following this particular indicator, I would say 75–80% of the time I've won. Now, when I impulsively get in without doing all the time research is when I lose. So again, you have to be disciplined. Now you see this little blue arrow pointing up. Now if you look at the other little blue arrows, this means that we're on an uptrend and we're going to be pushing up. We're more than likely going to be pushing up. So with that being said, you can see right here that it went ahead and indicated on the hour that we're more than likely going to be pushing up over here. However, we're still not green, we're in the red, but we're already we're already on the other side. The divergence has already happened. I wouldn't necessarily purchase at this exact time. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about scalping. So this is part 2 of the video where we're going to be talking about scalping with Market Cipher. Now, I am not a good scalper. I'm going to tell you that right now. But Market Cipher has allowed me to make some decent profits scalping. I don't necessarily like scalping. It's just not my thing. So I do like to swing trade only because I like to use bigger balances as well. Now, what do I look for when I'm going out there? And previously the last few days I've been doing extremely well scalping. But what am I looking for? Well, the first thing I look for is how fast I can move. So essentially, is if you're using one computer, you're going to have to go back and forth to whatever you are trading on, leveraging in, whatever it is, and get in and out relatively fast on the 1 minute because anything can happen. So with that being said, we're going to work backwards and go. So we're going to work on the bigger time frames, and then we're going to go to the smaller time frames. So over here, if you're scalping, you don't necessarily need to look at the 45, but it's good to understand and get a story of what's going on. So this would technically be a short. Now you see this little red diamond. This indicates that something is about to happen, something's going down. So we have a red diamond, we have a red X, and we have a blood diamond, and I'll discuss all of those. So we have a little red dot that's indicating a short here. So potentially in a 45-minute to up to like 2-3 hour time frame, it would be a short. So let's keep on working down because we're not looking to hold for that long, right? So we're in 30 minutes. Is it telling me the same story? Kind of. We have the little red dot over here. We have the diamond, the red diamond. But now we get to the 15-minute, and this is where things start to get interesting because we want to pay very close attention. You see what I said? We have a red X now on the 15-minute. These are going to be important, but let's keep going down to the 5-minute. So again, the 5-minute we can see right over here. Look at this. We're working with some divergence over here, right? This played out perfectly. Okay, so we have one big hill, another smaller hill, and then a smaller hill after that. Push to the upside. So again, we're still looking for what we looked for in the very beginning, but this time, what we're really paying close attention to is the signals happening on the candles more than anything, and what's happening. You have to process all this so fast, by the way. You have to look at what's happening with the candles, the previous candles, and you have to look at what's happening down below on Cipher B. So you see this indicator right here, the little green dot. The little green dot means that we're more than likely going up from here. It's going to push up. But we also have the little indicator, the blue triangle going up, saying, hey, look, this is on an uptrend. So it's uptrending. The green dot says we are going up in 5 minutes. So we also have this little green dot down over here that says, hey, this is a good time to purchase. So green dot in the red, right? Green dot, and here it is. I'll go ahead and zoom in for you. Right here, we have the little green dot down below, not a big green dot, but a little green dot, and it's in the red, right? So the money outflow, money's leaving, and then it flips. You see what I said? If you could snipe this, it's perfect for scalping. It flips to the upside. So essentially, we have this signal that says, hey, now's a good time to buy, but it could have gone down more, right? So this is where scalping becomes a little scary. So this is more than likely probably going to push up a little more because we have two confirming signals right over here. We have an uptrend and the fact that it says that it's going up, this little green dot. And if we take a look, historically, we could see the green dot over here, but this one got rejected. We have the green dot right here and it went up. We have the green dot over here now, and we're going to see how this plays out. So you have to determine if within 15 to 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, if you saw this in time, if you're willing to go ahead and basically wait and see what happens for it to flip, for the momentum to flip. Now let's go to the 3-minute. This is important. Look at this. We have these signals again, right? Look, we have a buy signal and we are in the red, right? The money outflow is in the red. Another buy signal, money outflow is in the red. So you could dollar cost average your way in. However, there's something on this chart you have to look at. When you see a little yellow X like this, you are going down. There hasn't been a single time where I've seen a yellow X that Market Cipher got it wrong. So you're going down, especially in the 3 and 5 minutes. And this is why it's really hard to nail in the 1 minute, because the X can appear, or whatever the signal is can appear and then disappear right away, because it's only working in a 60-second time frame. So essentially, if you were to take this in the 3 minute, you would go ahead and be profitable. Here's the thing, is that a lot of people look at this signal like, oh, I'm gonna buy right over here. They see red and they're like, ah, dang it, I gotta sell. It's gonna tank here. But this is the thing, is that a yellow X appeared, which means that you're probably gonna have to dollar cost average your way in here, or you're gonna have to wait for it to push to the upside. So essentially, this is the indecisive candle yet again, like I said, which typically signifies that you're going to be pushing to the upside, or push to the downside depending on where that indecisive candle is. And so, these are just things that I look for. I have to process all of this relatively fast, really, really fast, because when you start getting slimmer and slimmer onto the time frames, you go ahead and it tends to move really fast. So let's go to the 1 minute now. So what would happen on the 1 minute here? So as you can see, we have divergence, right? So it goes from big to small, and then it pushes to the upside. And it gave us an indication to purchase two really strong indicators, a yellow X. We have a green dot right over here, another green dot, a yellow X. If you purchase right here, great opportunity. It went up a little bit, and then we had a diamond over here. But it didn't push up to the line. You see this little white line? It didn't push up to that white line where I would like to see it go to, and I know it has the ability to go to. So, and these lines that I look for, by the way, it's basically the way that I process it, okay, and how I'm going to regurgitate it back out to you is almost like the lows. Okay, so it's the lows. So essentially what happens here is Cipher is like, okay, we hit a bottom here. This is a very strong support level. It's probably a really good time to buy now because we're going to bounce off of it. And lo and behold, as you can see, when all of these appear, it's towards the bottoms, right? It's towards the bottoms. So what would I do in this particular scenario right now? Would I buy? Well, let me just go ahead and see what exactly would I do here. I like to long, okay? I'm not really a big short person. So let's just see here. Money, people are buying. There's a sell indicator and there's a diamond. So more than likely what's going to happen is this is probably going to push down, but you have to be quick. So if I were to initiate a short right now, I need to eyeball this and see what happens here. But this is the thing, is that this can disappear, this diamond can disappear within the 1 minute time frame, which makes things so much harder to play with, right? So let's just see, there's not a lot of volume right now. It's 3:30 in the morning. But let's actually try Bitcoin, all right? Bitcoin USD. All right, let's go to Bybit, since there's a lot of volume on Bybit. Let's see what we have on the 15 minute. So 15 minute going up, there's a purchase signal right here. It's in the red. All right, let's go to the 5 minute. 5 minute in the red, but it's already pushing to the upside here. 3 minute it's already pushed to the upside. It's in the green. The 1 minute in the green. It's also telling us to long. So what would I do here exactly? Because I'm getting mixed signals. I would wait. I would wait here. So this is pushing to the upside, even though it went ahead and let's just see, what was it, the 5 minute chart or 15? There was one chart that was telling us to go ahead, or maybe it was the other chart, to short, but this is telling us to go ahead and long. These are too many mixed signals. I don't like it. So what would I do here? Well, if I'm looking to play Bitcoin, let's go to the 15 minute chart, right? If I wanted to play Bitcoin, I would want to set alerts to indicate when these particular green dots appear if I want to long. So what I would do is I'd actually click on part of where Market Cipher B is, right click and click add alert on Market Cipher once per bar close, open-ended, and what I would label it is BTC, what are we on? BTC 15 minute. BTC 15 min, actually BTC, let's do small green dot. So you label it a small green dot or big green dot. So BTC small green dot, all right. We would click create, continue, and in your alerts right over here, it would be in here, in your alerts. So let's go back to Tezos, for example. Let's go to ADA real quick. Let's go to Tezos. And what we have on Tezos is we're pushing up on the 1 hour. So again, this is literally how I use Market Cipher and how I go ahead and I get alerts. Now these alerts can go to your phone as well. So just understand what you're looking at here. You're looking for these big green dots. You can set alerts for these big green dots as well because they are strong indicators that, hey, we've hit a bottom and we're probably going back up. And if you're trading, if you're if you are scalping, you really want to go ahead and take a look at every single bit of the indicators from 30 minutes all the way down to the 1 minute chart. So 30, 15, 5, 3, 1, and get a general consensus of what's going to happen. If not, you're going to lose money. So my name is Dan from the Hidden Gem Network. I hope you learned something here and how I use Market Cipher. And as we can see, we are we're moving on up. We started the video around like 82K, and now we're moving on up. But again, this particular play is gonna work out over the course of the next 2 or 3 days, and I'm going to be looking to take 20, upwards of 30 or 40% on the $45,000 that I'm holding in spot. So with all that being said, I hope you learned something. Please smash the like button, share it if somebody you know is using Market Cipher and can use some help. And that's pretty much all I got. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you soon.